Welcome back. I'm Anastasia, and my mission is to build a community of acceptance and authenticity. I needed some adventure buddies for this journey of insight, and I'm glad it's you. You are all welcome here, and I'm grateful you decided to join me. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Maria, who is a transformational coach, and she is passionate about truly living life to its fullest, helping others connect with the deeper parts of themselves and building self-love for all of us. We talk about the practice of letting go, experimenting with life, and what it means to be our authentic selves, and how that can look different for each and every one of us. If you would like to connect with Maria after listening to her speak, you can find her at transformationalshifts.com. That is TransformationalShifts, transformational, SHIFTS, shifts.com, transformationalshifts.com. Before we get started, I also want to take a moment to thank my brand partner, Occupied Mind. Occupied Mind's goal is to create a sanctuary of self-expression. Their belief is simple yet profound. Everyone deserves to feel at home in their own skin. We share that dream, which is why I support them, and my closet is slowly turning into an Occupied Mind showroom. Use code INSIGHTSWITHUS15 at checkout to find a shirt that speaks your mind and bears your soul. Welcome, Maria, to Insights with Us.
Thank you so much.
I am
Grateful
so
to be
glad
here.
you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question to start with.
Okay.
How was Burning Man?
Oh, it was very Bernie.
Yeah.
The short answer is it was full on burn this year for sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I have never been, but I have some friends who go regularly and I just love hearing all of the adventures.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of that this year. And for me, this year was a really great practice in surrendering to the flow. It's pretty common if you go out there with any kind of agenda or expectations, you might find more challenge. And it was apparent with the weather early on that the things that I would normally like to do and get to wasn't going to be as easy. So yeah, it was a really beautiful practice in surrender and being gentle with myself and not trying to push myself too hard, which probably a bit of my maturity coming in to speak there.
I mean, it sounds powerful, even if it wasn't exactly what you initially hoped it would be.
Well, that's the thing. There's a very common saying for people that go to Burning Man, the burn doesn't give you what you need. It give you what you want, gives you what you need. And this year was definitely a display of that.
I love that so much. And so when you first reached back out to me after, I was like, yes, let's make this happen. And you sent me that little voice note. There was something that I wrote down because I do not want to forget this, because you called yourself the Great Life Experimenter. And I attached to that term, obviously. And it's been running around in my head. And I have 1,000 questions about you and your life, probably just because of calling yourself the Great Life Experimenter. And so I'm just curious, where does that come from, or how does that show up in your life?
Yeah, so that comes from human design. So my human design profile is a 3-5 manifesting generator. And so the line 3 and 5 have to do with the conscious and unconscious sun placements at the time of your birth and the 88 days before your birth. And so the 3 is the one that experiments with life. And, according to their, the common profile definition, it's like one who tries a lot of things and learns through failure to find success. And I don't really believe in failure or mistakes. I've renamed it the fuck around and find out profile because that feels way more on brand for me. But I'm not meant to do one thing, is basically what it's saying. And the five line is the heretic, the one who teaches from their experience. So I'm meant to go out and try a lot of different things and share from my experience so that others can learn. And so that's where the great life experimenter comes from.
Okay. So my next curiosity around that, I want you to go with the flow and think of just whatever pops up in your head.
Okay.
What have you tried?
Oh, I've tried it all. I've tried to do what society says we're supposed to do, and it does not feel right for me. And so I've always really experimented with, well, what is this for me? What feels true for me? And I guess back to Burning Man, it's why it's so fun because you can be anyone you want to be and do anything you want to do out there. And it really gives you full, autonomy to explore. What does it mean for me to be authentic? What is my true authenticity when I don't have society telling me what I'm meant to do and what I should be doing? What does that mean for me? And, for me, I've been a full-time nomad for over 15 years now. I've never lived longer in one place in the last 15 years than, 8 months, and that was COVID. So for me, I thought 15 years ago when I started my travel that I would travel for 6 months and find a new place to live and settle down and, do the thing you're supposed to do.
Didn't
And
happen.
yeah, didn't happen. I told myself for a long time, the fun runs out when the funds run out. And then I managed to never make the funds run out. So the fun keeps happening, which is great. And so, yeah, for me, I love experimenting different cultures, different foods, hearing from other people's experience. I love exploring art. I love exploring movement through dance and music. And I mean, the list could go on forever. So I don't think we have that much time.
Yeah, but you can come back on. It's fine. I want to hear all the
Okay,
stories. I got to share my own
great.
stories. This is going to be great.
Perfect. Okay.
So wait, I want to back up just a little bit to
Sure.
I started by experimenting with what I thought life should be.
Yeah.
And you tried that and it didn't work. That feels like an important moment of shift, of almost like breaking free of those expectations to find
Yeah.
that authentic self, that nomad life. Can you tell me a little bit more of what that moment was like, of like, I can't be this anymore?
Mm. I suppose there were many moments in my life that I felt that way, but it wasn't until I found human design and read about the way that my design is. And the whole human design system is based on the fact that we are raised with this conditioning that we then are meant to deprogram to find our true self. And there was something very specific I read in my human design profile about how I'm not meant to be doing the same thing every day. And so I was trying to be routine, to do the thing that, is you're supposed to do with routine every single day. And that's just not my design. And so when I read that I wasn't meant to do that, it was like a mind-blowing moment. Like, oh my gosh, I could feel into the moments where I allowed myself to not go with routine and how free and flowing that felt for me versus the time where I felt like I need to be regimented. I need to do the same thing every time, every day. And it just felt hard, like it wasn't in flow. And so, yeah, I mean, there's many moments, but that one it was really stand out and why I love what human design teaches and allows us to explore through the lens of the different ways that they talk about our design.
I love the way you said that. And it just like as you read it, something unlocked in you. Because
Yeah.
like the words didn't tell you who you were. The words confirmed what you already knew and almost gave yourself permission to follow that path rather than trying to force yourself to stay in what wasn't working for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that was such a freeing moment for me. It's like, oh, okay. So this is what's best for me. And funny enough, if you, keep going with human design, you might eventually hear of gene keys, which is, I describe as the next evolution of human design. 55 is my life's work sphere gene key, and it's all about the path to freedom. So my whole life's work is to live and embody freedom so that others can then explore and understand that for themselves in whatever way that looks for them.
We are in alignment with that.
Yeah.
How would you explain human design to someone who has never heard it before, ever?
Yeah, it's a lens. It's a way for us to think about the ways that we love to live and what feels true to us. And I think everyone has an internal truth barometer within themselves. And when you feel the truth, like you feel that resonance in your body, right? And so for me, I think it's a great opportunity to reflect deeper on who am I? What is it that is important to me? And how do I want to express that throughout my life? And so there's a lot of different aspects to human design that's like, wow, I would have never thought of that had I not had this lens reflecting back to me that this is, something that I can embody freely as myself.
So I'm kind of taking and processing that and finding my own lens, my own language through it. So I'm curious, I feel like there's some alignment where it's a lot of inner voice work, learning to hear your own intuition, your own truth, but then also allowing for the flexibility of life and your day to day. And, myself included a lot of the time, but a lot of us, it's like we have a dream and then it's like the parameters come in and shoot down around the dream and they go, okay, well, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is how you have to go there versus I think I kind of want to go in that direction, but like, let's see which way life takes me and how it works out and what ends up happening.
Yeah, and I mean that for me in the Great Life Experiment has been way more successful to try that way versus what I should be doing or feeling like I need to know how and plotting it all out. When I align with my values and the truth of me and what really lights me up, the universe shows me all of that. I don't even need to figure it out. And that's where the real fun begins because the weight of that responsibility of needing to know the how and all of that just melts away.
Because you can't know how, it's the future.
Exactly. I mean, you could. There's times where I have definitely seen the future, and there's times that I've definitely chosen to allow life to surprise me because it's way more fun that way if we don't know all of the details of how everything's going to play out. It's why we choose to forget.
I love that. Okay.
So that we can learn to remember.
Yeah. When was the last time life surprised you?
That's a great question. Yeah, I'm thinking back to a conversation I had with the beloved last week. And I think there was a little bit of surprise in what she was sharing, and also a lot of gratitude in that she was sharing it, and also a lot of growth in how I was able to respond. There was it was an emotional conversation, and normally, in the past, I would have either shut down or been in the fight flight response. And in this moment, I took some breaths. I allowed my emotion to flow through, and I spoke true from my heart. And I said, I don't really know what I could say right now in this moment because there's a part of me that feels like whatever I say is not going to be the right thing. And that was huge from the parts of me that have felt that throughout her life to feel me stand up in that way. And it was true. Like I didn't know what to say in that moment, but normally it would have come out in a much different way. And that was held with compassion and love. And the conversation very easily flowed from there, which was a huge moment for me.
Wow, that's beautiful. I think one of the hardest things to do in life is learn that we can actually trust ourselves to sit in discomfort. Because we can. Not only can we survive it, but we can heal in it and grow in it in ways that are so unexpected sometimes. But when you finally give yourself permission to just exist, not know the answer, and just be a
Yeah.
little uncomfortable in it, it can be terrifying, but also so grounding.
Yeah. And to be able to pause in that moment is huge for me. And that's something that I will continue to practice and foster and know that I can come back to my breath and that can help recompose any emotion that I'm feeling. And yeah, it's so true. It's beautiful how life gives us these examples to show us how far we've come.
Well, and I'm curious because, you mentioned that grounding breath and kind of slowing down in it. What other grounding tools do you have? What do you use in this nomadic life
Mm.
to connect you back to the earth?
Well, I love my crystals. So I travel with crystals quite often and love to connect with them. It's funny, no matter where I go, it seems like my soul just takes me to a crystal shop. Like I don't even know a crystal shop's there. Wander in, I'm like, oh, of course. Now I'm holding a citrine, you know. Now I'm feeling much more calm and present with communication. Like perfect. I love connecting with the oracle decks that I have. I actually just caught the eye of the Isis Oracle deck that I have here by Elena Fairchild, which is a super powerful deck. So I think those are fun. For me, probably the biggest grounding opportunity is through sound. So I channel light language and I love doing any kind of vocal toning to support, soothing of the nervous system and also clearing of energy. So if I'm in a massage or like yesterday, I went to the chiropractor and I had some tightness. And so she was doing some things to loosen that up. And so I just immediately go into vocal toning and immediately the tension kind of melts away. So yeah, definitely doing a lot more sounding in addition to the breath work these days.
I love that. I am a trauma therapist and I am certified in EMDR. I do a lot of somatic work and I follow a lot of like polyvagal theory, which is tracking the vagus nerve for grounding and regulation. And it runs along your vocal cords.
Yep.
So when you do that vocal toning or humming or whatever it is you need to do, it literally massages your vagus nerve. And I wish more people were willing to do it with me.
Mm.
Most of the time, my
I'm
clients are
always
like,
open.
what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you want me to like hum or something? I'm like, let's do it.
Well, and I think it says a lot about where we're at currently within the evolution of humanity. I think we have a lot of congestion around the throat chakra and a lot of hesitation. And it's also presented in the hyperactive way where we're just like lashing out, right? And so for me, I think there is a lot that we could be doing right now to support our throat chakra and also that is connected to creation.
Say more. Like
So
what? What are these ideas you
so
have?
in the beginning there was sound, right? That's like the first point of all creation. And when we think about the things that we want to manifest and attract in our life, when we bring sound to that and vocalize what those desires are, what those needs are, what those wants are, it's much more likely to materialize. We can sit there and think about it all day long, and thoughts is vibration as well. But when it comes into sound, that is when we start to create. That is when we share the ideas. That's when we can have others hold that vision alongside us who don't have those same limiting beliefs that we might have. So when we can bring sound to that and someone tells me about a desire or a dream that they have, I see them in that. I don't have any of the reservations. And so therefore, I am then amplifying the other person's desire or manifestation through my own vibration and receiving that from them. And so I think there's just so much power in that. And I think it's also why it's been so suppressed over the years.
It's so freeing to be able to not just see yourself, but to see someone else fully as who they are
Yeah.
and what they hope for.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's one of my unique gifts that I have in this life is to be able to hold that for others when they might not be able to hold it for themselves. Not that it's my responsibility or job to do, but that it does contribute to the greater, greater good, if you will.
Yeah, this is how you help the world by helping other people find themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's really there's a quote from one of my favorite books, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, was written in the early 1900s. So there's a bit different language, but the quote is along the lines of it's the hardest work of man to do to think truth regardless of appearance. And so often we like to focus on what we're seeing in the 3D world around us and take that as truth or this is what it is. And then what happens, we kind of get stuck in that in a place that we don't want to be. So that's why I like to spend more time focusing on and thinking about the new earth that we are currently co-creating and what does that look like and what does that feel like? Because for me, feeling it's a huge thing. And so when I tune into the vibration of how I'd like to feel, I can really start to know, is that the path that I wish to walk? Because I will immediately, again, back to that internal truth barometer, it will tell me this is in resonance, or this is probably not exactly what I want, or the human likes to have fun, so we switch it up and surprise ourselves and like, oh yeah, yeah, that's not actually what I want. I'm gonna go this way instead.
So I'm so curious if you're being pulled towards anything specific right now. Like, where is your inner voice taking you?
Yeah, I've been feeling a pull towards the ancient sites that we have around this planet. Uh, I'm connecting energetically with these places, and I believe that there are codes within us when we visit these places that are then unlocked for more of that remembering of all that we have available to us. And so, yeah, I've spent much of this year and will continue traveling to powerful ancient portals all over this planet.
Where have you been? And I need to know if I've been to any of them.
Well, I have been to a lot of places since I've been traveling full time for the last 15 years, but this
Wow.
year in particular, started out in Bali, which is a beautiful, magnificent island.
I love Bali.
I went to Egypt in February with Robert Edward Grant and Matthias Di Stefano, all along the Nile, went to a lot of different temples and had a very powerful night in the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid. From there, I was guided to go to Gunung Padang, which is the Mountain of Enlightenment, is what that translates in Indonesia, on the 5-5 portal. I also went to Chichen Itza this year and did the first Holy Nada event with Matthias there. I will be traveling down to Bolivia and Lake Titicaca for the first time this fall, and probably doing a little bit more travel throughout South America. I've been to Peru and the Sacred Valley before, and I absolutely love it there, and I will be going back later this year.
Wow. I think there's only two you named that I haven't been to. I lived in
Awesome.
Indonesia for 5 years, and
Oh,
I
wow.
lived in the UAE for 8. So whenever you're in that area, you kind of travel a lot more around that area. So
Yeah.
I think I've been to the pyramids like 3 or 4 times. But it sounds like when you go, it's not just this internal, I'm here, I'm feeling it space, but you actually practice and settle in and maybe even participate in cultural events at those places.
Yeah, it's a lot of light language is flowing through me these days, particularly when I'm around water. Anywhere that I'm around water to me is a sacred space. And so I think there is a lot that we could be doing right now to support this planet through intentional and conscious connection with water. And so, yeah, it's never a planned thing when someone's channeling, it's really flowing through you. And so when I go to these powerful ancient sites, I have a little process of, giving an offering and asking permission to enter, surrounding myself with the Merkaba, particularly in Egypt, so that it can support my ability to move through these spaces in a timeline that I choose to walk in. Um, and so, yeah, it's still unfolding. One of the things that came through for me when I was in Egypt this year, at the Temple of Hathor, is that I didn't need to know. And something about that really lifted a weight of responsibility on me. Like, I don't really need to know what's coming through me. I know that my heart is true and that I am aligned for the greater good of all. And I am not even resonating on any kind of plane of fear, so I don't have to, worry about that. I know that the love is me and that I am love. And then later, when I went to Chichen Itza, I realized that I have the ability to choose to know. And so from that point on, I claimed, I choose to know, I choose to remember. And so now the unfolding is a little different, and I might not know ahead of time, and that's okay. And then once I'm there, maybe that's when the knowing comes through. Um, and there's a sense of adventure and fun and freedom in not needing to know, but I think there's a lot more power in saying that I choose to know.
I think they go together. Just the way you're saying it and the way that this experience unfolded for you. You don't have to know it. You can choose to let go of that responsibility. And just like with Burning Man, right? You got to say, I'm just going to be flexible. I am just
Yeah.
not going to know. Let's just see what happens. So when you don't want to know, you can.
Yeah.
But being able to decide for yourself, for your inner truth, I do want to know this. I do want to take this responsibility on. That allows it, again, to feel more freeing because it is your own choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So powerful.
Mm.
So, in terms of choosing to know, and this can be related to your travels and the spiritual experience you're saying, or something else entirely. I want to keep it open always. But I'm curious what you are curious about. What do you want to discover next?
I am really curious what the economies of the new Earth look like. I'm really interested to know when we dissolve these systems and structures that are no longer serving humanity, what are we going to reuse and rebuild in ways that are more supportive for all, not just the top 1%? And so I think a lot about that. Like, what does a society look like that's not based on capitalism?
Mm-hmm.
What would it look like to live communally with others in regenerative ways? Those are the types of things that really pique my curiosity these days. And
I have literally been thinking about that the last like 2 to 3 weeks.
amazing. Of course you have.
Of course. I was listening to another podcast that of two people I really respect. And it was like a throwaway comment that they made of just, I wonder what's going to happen when money isn't the main thing anymore. I hope we're
Yeah.
around to see it. And then they just moved on. I'm like, wait, but can we come back to this, please? Because it isn't really working anymore. It is kind of a broken system. It worked at one point, but it's not currently helping us all reach our full potential. And that's kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
But it does create this space for hope and almost imagination for what could be next.
Yeah, I know that one of the things that I love to think about is like, so let's say we live in this reality where money isn't a thing. We don't need money to survive. What would we do? Like, what would we do? I think we would still make and create and want to work in some capacity. We probably wouldn't be pushing paper across desks all day long, but like, what does that look like? A lot of people, and I understand for very real reasons, are afraid of AI taking their jobs. But I look at the other, I guess, the glass half full, like what that opens up for people, that they no longer have to do these things that computers can more easily do for us. It would allow us to have more freedom of expression or creativity or thought. Like, what does that look like? And what would really light people up? I love playing in that.
It's like something you said earlier that I want to bring back to, which is once you start being your authentic self, what do you choose to do? Who do you choose to be? And getting rid of the I have to make money. I have to do this. It's like, okay, but now what do you want to do? What would
Yeah,
your life look like if you were in a space where money didn't matter?
exactly. Are you asking me or?
I'm kind of actually asking you because you are
I
living a nomad
I
life.
think
So
I
how
live
would it
that.
be different?
I think I live that. I live my dream life right now. I do everything that I want to do. I've never been the type of person to limit myself based on not having or lack. I have been very fortunate to have the ability to travel the ways that I do. And it didn't always come easy. And I think that because I have had that freedom and felt that I've been able to receive all the ways that money wants to come to me in order to do the things that I want to do. It's not dependent on me having the money or not. I know the money will come if I'm following my joy. And that's the fun. And it's what all of the, great mentors that I admire will teach on. And I get to live it. And so I think that's again back to my life's work in embodying freedom and trust and surrender to that flow and the way that that can come to us. Most people teach and talk about it, but they don't really actually live it.
Mhm. Yeah, there's this place of, we'll dream about it, fantasize about your vacation, fantasize about where do you want to go in the world. But I think that was one of the, I don't want to say challenging, that's not quite the right word, eye-opening experiences for me of spending my entire life in different cultures and different places of the world. And then I graduated high school and came to Colorado, and I kind of chose to settle here. And I've still moved all over Colorado. I've moved every 2 to 4 years since I've been here, but I haven't really left Colorado. It feels right to be here. But there's so many people in this country and in a lot of countries all over the place that have never traveled, that have
Yeah.
maybe been on an airplane once in their lives or done a single road trip an hour away and don't know what it means to immerse yourself into a different culture or to let yourself be the odd one out or the one that looks different or thinks different so that you can transform a little bit more.
Yeah. And, I think there's a lot to be said for the process of dreaming. I don't want to negate that because there's actually a lot of benefits. Ben Huberman has a really amazing podcast about the science of habits and what's happening in the brain neurologically as we are preparing to do something that we want to say either make a habit or to release a habit. And when he was talking about it, he never brought up manifestation, but it's the exact same thing. We can rehearse and dream and feel into these possible scenarios. And it's one thing to spend your life in that and not do it, which brings me to what I love to do with others and supporting them in whatever the limiting beliefs that come up that say that they can't do that. Right. But if someone chooses not to travel because it doesn't light them up, then that's fine. Just because my form of freedom is traveling around the world doesn't mean it has to be someone else's. But if there's a dream that you have in your heart that you aren't following, let's talk about that. Let's get down to why that is. And usually it comes, from a place of lack. That, I believe it is an illusion to teach us all that we have access to.
I'm really glad that you slowed down in that and caught that because I agree with everything you just said. It's so important to dream. It's important to notice your dreams and then being able to have curiosity around those barriers, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mentioned very briefly right before we hit record that I spent my whole life basically as a nomad. I moved every 2 to 4 years since I was 3 weeks old. Have never been in the same place. And as I got older, I realized that I've spent a lot of my life wishing I could experience that.
Mm.
I went the other way where I've kind of never had the choice in whether or not I would settle. And now I have this pull towards, what does settling feel like? What does living in a place long enough to like turn it into yours mean? It's like I turn it into mine and then it's gone in 3 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like my dream right now is kind of the opposite of yours, but it's in such alignment because it's what's true for you, what's true for
Yeah.
me. Let that
Exactly.
exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And know that we have full freedom in that for whatever that wants to look like for ourselves. That's what I love to explore with people and hear from people what that looks like for them.
Well, and I also want to name for this experience that I'm having, I'm not settled yet. I'm not going to be in this space for the rest of my life, and I'll probably move in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm trying very hard to practice that flexibility, that unknowing. Just, I know what I'm working towards, but it's not happening yet. And that can be really difficult to accept sometimes, really uncomfortable to sit in because it isn't what I want to be moving forward towards immediately, but I also know it'll come.
What does that process look like for you in terms of, feeling into the uncomfortability of that and the unknowing?
Well, it's a great question. I am a crier. So for me, it often involves a lot of tears, which, as I have grown and healed in my life, it is really interesting watching other people try to comfort and fix my tears and me being like, no, I need to be feeling this. Like, I need to let myself be uncomfortable or be unhappy in this particular moment, because in this moment, that is what feels overwhelming to me. And then once I can let myself sit in that discomfort and accept that there's that friction, then I can kind of pause and go, okay, but I'm not done. Like, this isn't the end point. Oh no, I lost. It's just the story isn't over yet. And I am continually taking steps and moving in those directions that feel right for me, and being able to ground myself in that after the discomfort versus skipping it and almost trying to lull myself into a false sense of security while there's all this unease. Like, that just doesn't feel right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am actually the same. I am also a crier. And I think there was a turning point where I allowed myself to be comfortable with crying as a form of release that really dissolved years and years of embarrassment and shame and fear and anything that could have come behind that that would prevent me from that full expression. And when I allow the full expression to flow through, usually within, a half hour, not usually any more than that these days. It's like, okay, that's moved through me. Now we can go on. I drink my tears these days because that's a form of water alchemy for me that feels very powerful. And I think there's something to be said about the transmutation of emotion through tears and the sacredness of our own internal waters that really allows me to drink in my own sovereignty and my own power.
That's amazing. Oh, okay. So, what, I don't even know what I'm trying to ask here. My brain went to that idea of transformation and
Yeah.
all the different phases of what you've talked about in your life and what has unlocked for you, and this language you found, and embracing the unknowing. What am I trying to ask? I'm having all these ideas and letting them sit with me. Where do your passions lie?
My passion is in experiencing life. I think that's why I keep coming back to Earth because there's so much to experience, not only through our five senses, but we have so many more senses. And so I think that's why we come back to experience it all. Even the things that don't feel good, we come back to feel that so that we can feel. Like that's unique to the human experience in the way that we feel the full breadth of emotions that we have on this planet. And yeah, to experience food. I can't tell you how many times I've been enjoying a meal and like, this is why I came back to enjoy this meal. So like my passion is like fully living life to the fullest extent that I can, through love, through compassion, through joy, through play, through fun, through spontaneity, and yeah, just leaning fully into that feels like, yeah, definitely where my passions are.
Are there moments where you lose it? Like you get caught up in the idea of the hustle or stuck in an expectation, or you can't quite enjoy the present moment because your mind is running through what ifs?
Mm.
Are there moments
Mm.
like that still in your life?
Yes, but few and far between these days, I would say. Usually it'll be through the interaction with another that I can notice myself getting caught up in a thought loop. And I'm very aware of when that's happening, and there's different things that I practice in order to break me from that, break me free from that, I should say. That thought pattern that can really like get a hold, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I wish I would have said this, that kind of thing. Um, and so yes, and I think it all comes back to connecting into my heart, the seat of my soul, the love that I am, and the love that I have for myself. That has really transformed a lot, because if I'm compassionate and gentle with myself, it's easier for me to find that with my others. But if I'm hard on myself, I am not going to make it any easier on anyone else.
Yeah. How we talk to ourselves is how we show up in the world.
Yeah.
And I can sense that in you. You are open and accepting and so energetic about life. And I feel that inward towards you. So I think that's what's coming out. Like you are so excited to be you, is
Yeah.
what I'm picking up on. So it makes sense then that even just in this conversation, you're excited to be here
Yeah.
because you're excited to be you. And this is where you're at right now.
Yeah, well, and I love having these kinds of conversations with people, and you ask amazing questions. So it's just super fun and easy to be here right now and to share in these ways. I think it's part of the beauty of life. I mean, we didn't come here to live solo. Some people maybe did, as their own form of learning what that is for them. But I think that by and large, we come here to live in community and to really feel into how we can express compassionately care and equality for all. I think is where we're at right now in this turning point in humanity.
Well, and as you were describing that, you used the word fun because it isn't just about I have to heal and I have to figure this out and I have to be able to listen to myself. It's like, what is fun? What is playful? What allows me not just to move through life, but enjoy moving through
Yeah.
life?
I think we forget sometimes, like, that's why we're here, to have fun. We didn't come here to work till we die. Like, unless that's fun for you, I don't mean to, there's no judgment whatsoever. But a lot of people don't like that that's their life, right? And we have all of these things that we think we're conditioned that we have to do in order to be on this earth. And I love to challenge that because I think that there's, just so much that we have access to that we think we don't. And so whatever, I could do to inspire people to find that for themselves, I think is so important. And it makes a lot of the stuff that feels really hard and heavy and challenging easier if we can find the fun in it. And it's why like comedians are so amazing right now. Like we need more laughter. We need more ability to transmute these heavy energies and things that are happening through lightness and joy. And so yeah, I think this is a clear message that was coming through my guides 2 years ago. It's like, remember, you are here to have fun, and you see it every day. Like even in Gaza, the kids are still like finding ways to have fun and play. And it's a form of like real transmutation of some challenging energies. And I think I'm just in awe at the brilliance of how incredibly strong and powerful the people of Gaza are, and many other. I mean, it's not just Gaza, right? Many
All
other
over the world
war-torn
throughout
areas.
history.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, what do you do for fun?
Mm. I love to listen to music and move my body. Like to me, that's super fun. I
Like
love
free
to
expression kind of movement?
Oh yeah, I love ecstatic dance. I love going to live shows. I love feeling subwoofers like a foot in front of my face. Like let me just move my body. Like yeah, that is probably like the ultimate expression of fun for me. I love connecting with people like this right now is super fun for me. Um, I love I love experiencing art. You know, I love seeing the ways that people play with color and their own creativity. And I love exploring new places, like new waterfalls or um, different forms of energy healing. That's all feels really fun to me. I love feeling energy. I love the ways that I've opened up myself to feel energy in a multitude of new ways in the last few years. And the reason why I find that so fun is because there's like an infinite expansion in that. And so to play in that infinite expansion is just like, yes, bring it on, more and more and more.
Well, and I mean, I just, when you feel like a new wave of energy or a new experience, it just, like, there's this moment of, wait, what is this? It's,
Yeah.
I'm going to tie the inner child in it. It's like childlike wonder
Yeah.
almost. I'm like, oh my God, what is this new thing? Do I get to play with it? Do I get to learn about it? Like, let me get my hands in there. Let me just play with life. And then you go to a new place and you have a new energy and a new experience. And it's again that just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is definitely my design, but I love that you brought back into the inner child because it is through connecting deeper with my inner child through that imaginative, playful ways that, like, when's the last time you were able to go to some place and see things as if you were young again? And it was like the first time you'd seen it, like that magic that can bubble up energetically within us, I think is what reminds us, like, oh yeah, we're alive.
So, what was that work like for you, reconnecting or connecting further with your inner child?
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge like transition in my life when I found this process of soul integration and the ways that I used to be so negative. I used to think the world was shit, everything was terrible, there was nothing I could do, like it was all out of my hands. I guess I'm just gonna go work, like I was just negative about it all. And emotionally, I would be so reactive to things that I didn't agree with, that would entangle me in ways that was not healthy. And so once I was able to connect with my inner child and find up all the reasons that I'd put up these shields and these things that I thought I needed to do to protect myself, and allowed her to feel safe enough to lower those defenses, then I was able to get to the soft parts of me, the vulnerable parts of me, and find the beauty in that and like celebrate the beauty in that. Back to the what we were saying about crying, you know? And through that is where you really get to the essence of who you are, where that fun, imaginative, sassy, playful parts of you exist. And then what is fun from there? Like that's where I like to create from and dream from. And it allows me to create in ways that maybe my adult mind wouldn't have thought of because the adult mind is so conditioned in all the shoulds.
Yeah. And it's so easy to hear the shoulds. It
Yeah.
is a lot harder to go, wait, no, that should doesn't have to be there. Like, hey,
Yeah.
kid in me, what do you want to do? Again, bringing
Yeah.
it back to like just follow that voice.
One of my favorite things to do in my client sessions is to hand the client's inner child a magic wand and tell her she can wave the magic wand and however she wants to collapse time and space to come into the present day moment. And the magic that comes from that, like I feel energetically I'm connected to people. And so I can feel the moment that handoff happens and the delight that washes over people. And the way that the child is able to wave the magic wand and bring in magic into a session is super playful, and also it reconnects people to themselves in a way that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And yeah, it's it literally is magic. It's great.
I love it. I love it. One that I've been doing recently with my clients and with myself, honestly, is I have them like trace back in time to when they were a kid and they didn't have those responsibilities, and remembering the fun and the playfulness, and then invite them as their adult self to go seek that out in the
Yeah.
world and
Yeah.
bring almost like a part of their history to the present and invite their child self to be in charge of that session. So like
Yeah.
one client used to hide under the covers and read. It's like, go hide under the covers and read this week. I loved going outside and staring at the sky. Why haven't you been doing that this whole time? Like, let's go. Let's go have fun.
Yeah, we forget, you know. We forget of the ways that we found delight and sometimes escape as a child. And I think there's so much that we have access to when we're young, particularly when we're younger than 7, that, you know, as we grow older, we lose touch with these magical, I'm going to use this word again, magical abilities that we have innately within us. Everyone has this, you know, and oftentimes in these sessions, the inner child's bringing back a memory that has long been forgotten. Maybe you know, it was a teddy bear that brought a lot of comfort, or one was a wristwatch was what came into it. And so then it was like every time you look at your watch, remember like that part of you that brought that magic to you. You know, oftentimes the inner child is bringing in a visual cue and memory that then can be supportive for reconnection outside of the session, so that, you know, once we've made this connection with the inner child, that's the very beginning. That's where everything starts. Now it's about fostering that relationship and doing the things that you said that you are going to do, so that your inner child can trust you to do those things, so they don't have to go back to those strategies that they tried before that, you know, were not working in the patterns that brought you here to this session today.
Well, and, you know, talking about barriers to growth, barriers to finding yourself, barriers to listening.
Yeah.
So often our inner child is just begging for you to notice.
Yes.
Like they already have the answer, they already have the words, they already have the direction they want to go in. But our adult selves get so caught up in the shoulds and the expectations that we forget to slow down enough to listen to that kid.
Yes.
And the second you unlock that space and just say, what do you want? Like that kid is ready to go every time.
Yeah. I
Once you
just got out
find
of
the
a
way
client
unlocked.
session, and the kid, like, she had a whole list of things she wanted to do, and you could feel like how much delight came over, like, oh, I can do these things, and now I can do them with you. You know, a lot of times, a lot of the trauma that we experience, almost all of it, the fear that we experience in our lives comes back to the fear of abandonment, right? Because in order for us to survive when we're young, we depend on other people, right? And so it's like within us, genetically, in inherently in us.
It's survival.
And so when we no longer have to fend for that, right, and fear that, because we've made that connection with ourselves and we can be that for ourselves, we no longer have to feel that fear as deeply. There will be more practice that we have to do in order to really integrate that and feel that confidence and that sovereignty within ourselves. But it's through fostering that connection with the inner child that grows.
Well, and there's so much fear of, if I actually show up as that authentic self, if I actually bring down these walls and let that softness out, no one will want to be with that person. Like I'm supposed to fit this norm so that I can have the community. But it almost keeps us from our community. If you can actually let yourself be your true, authentic, fun, playful self, you'll find that community who can see you in that way and enjoy that version of you, that authentic you.
Yeah. Or, yes, and people also will feel that within you. When you are fully authentically yourself, it gives other people permission to explore that for themselves. And it's not why we do it, but it's an interesting result of it. And I just went back to a clip today from a podcast with Dr. Zach Bush, and he was talking about a study where they were able to measure the frequency of people when they're feeling into feelings of love and gratitude and joy. And there was a moment where they're sharing different stories of the people that they're doing the research with and scanning the body, that they were also testing, things like judgment, guilt, shame, to register and see how the frequency changed. And there's a point where they noticed in the study that people were actually emitting even more frequency throughout the session. And it was when they noticed it was when they were getting goosebumps. And so through the analysis of the data, they said, well, what is it about that feeling that gives us goosebumps, right? And it's this like internal resonance of like truth and authenticity. And they said, maybe it has something to do with authenticity. So then they repeated the study and studied it through moments of pure authenticity and found that the frequency was 40 times higher than any of these other vibrations. So while we've always focused on love and joy and gratitude being like the most high frequency we can be, it's actually authenticity. And why is that, right? Because it's fully uniquely who we are. And when we feel that resonance and that knowing within ourselves, like we're unstoppable.
And my mind went back to us talking about it's authentic for us to cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes authenticity isn't joy. Sometimes authenticity is grief. Sometimes authenticity is loneliness. And, sometimes authenticity is anger, but I also find that anger works as a beautiful mask for the raw emotions that are harder to sit in underneath. And I remember being in conflict with my partner once and kind of miscommunications and jumping back and forth. And I finally stopped and was like, I'm just lonely right now. Like, that's it. I'm just lonely. And it was such an authentic, raw moment. And everything else fell away. And he was just like, oh, I can meet you in that. And we were able to slow down in that authentic, sad, lonely place together.
Beautiful. And again, you tuning into the authenticity of yourself allowed him to find into the authenticity of himself.
Yeah, it all builds.
Yeah.
And that's how we build community, one authentic moment at a time, and seeing if the other person is ready or willing to also meet us in that space. Because I'm not going to, there's so many layers, and our society is very complicated at this point, that we're all kind of on different places of that journey. And whenever I am authentic and somebody's like, ugh, why are you like that? I'm like, that's okay. You're just not in this place of the journey yet. Maybe we'll loop back around, maybe not, but this is me.
Yeah. And, this is honestly why I love Burning Man so much, because it's a space for people to fully explore what it means to be authentic for them. Because in many times we grow up with so much conditioning and all these shoulds, we might not even know, right? How do we know until we try something? Experiment with it. And so when you go to a space where you can be anyone you want to be, you can dress anyway or not even wear clothes if you don't want to, like all the shoulds and all of the societal, like, this is what we're supposed to be, just kind of, it goes away and people's real beauty shines. Like, the most beautiful people are at Burning Man, not because they're like gorgeous, because they're just fully authentically allowing themselves to explore what it is that lights them up in that moment.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
And it's why a lot of people that have been going to Burning Man for so long want to bring that back to the rest of the world. Like, it's not meant to be this one thing that happens one week in the desert and that's it. the whole mission of the Burning Man organization is so that we bring this back into our communities, into our everyday life. Not to say this is how we're supposed to live, but it's more of a question. How do we want to live?
Who do
What
we
does
want
it
to be?
mean? Exactly. Who do we want to be? What does it mean to live in community? Like that's how we start to rethink what it means to live in this new earth. Because in the old world, that's where the shoulds live. That's where the fear lives. That's where all the guilt and the shame and the judgment that's no longer going to come with us in this new earth. So then what do we get to play and explore in?
Yeah, what comes next? If we can find that, if we can access that and invite others into that and build on that, what comes next?
A whole lot of fulfillment.
Yeah. So I want you to kind of check in with yourself here now as we're kind of nearing the end of our time and see if there's anything we didn't get to talk about that you would like to share. Anything left lingering?
Well, I feel like we could have many discussions like this and it would just go on and on and on. I mean, how much time we got?
Unfortunately,
I
not
think
too much today, but you are welcome to come
yeah.
back. I am happy to continue this conversation. So,
I mean, I think if anything, I would love for people listening to really, take a moment to feel into like what feels true to them in this moment and what really does light them up. And if there's any reason that they're not following that, like be compassionate and curious with yourself in that and really like look into what is it about that dream, that desire, and where you're at and where you think you're not that could allow you to explore where you want to be. And what does freedom look like to you? Like, I think that is an amazing question. And I think it's one that a lot of people are exploring in a lot of different ways right now. And we're seeing it presented through a lot of different ways that, the media wants to make it look very decisive, but divisive, but we're fully exploring that. And yeah, if there's anything limiting that comes up, I would just remain curious with what that's there to tell us, because there's a lot that can be revealed through that self-inquiry.
I love that. And I want to emphasize one piece that you said. Just really hit it home because if you have that dream, right? Oh, I would love to do this or maybe someday I can be this authentic person, but you're not quite there yet. The curiosity for what's stopping you, but also the acceptance that maybe this is what's authentic for you at this point in your journey.
Yeah.
Maybe fully accessing that other free part of you isn't actually authentic right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can be where you're at, even if it's not quite where you want to be yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And finding what it is about where you're at now that lights you up, and for some people that can be really hard. And I understand. Ideally, there is something within that you can find to feel into how you can then amplify that within yourself, right? Because as you feel into whatever, if there's something, even if it's small, that you can find gratitude for, really, I find a lot of joy in doing this for myself. I think that's where we will be able to create that frequency set point from that place to then attract in more of that, which will then put you on that path to connect you to that dream.
I'm glad we're both on this path.
Yeah, me too.
So to wrap up, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
What intention is guiding you this week?
My intention that's guiding me this week is connection. So I am heading to a gathering that's taking place 1 hour north of where I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, which is one of the least likely places I would ever expect to find an event like this. But one of my favorite musicians, Parangi, is going to be there, and we will be in community of visionaries and creating this new earth and talking about a lot of what we're talking about today and celebrating life through music, through connection with others and plant medicine. So I'm really looking forward to what's going to open up for me in that, and just fully open to all the ways that magic wants to be created through this weekend. Um, so I feel like I'm like, there's something that's going to be so like life changing for me in this event. Like I feel on the precipice of like something really big. And so I'm really excited to see what this is going to be like.
I'm really excited for you to experience
Yeah.
whatever ends up happening.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And I'm really looking forward to the ceremonies that we will have. I'm grateful that they've invited Indigenous leaders to be participating in this event. And yeah, so I think that there's just so much richness when we can connect with elders and learn through the Indigenous wisdom that they have to offer. And, you know, a lot of that also comes through the experience that we have with plant medicine and what that can open us up to. So looking forward to it all.
I'm excited for you. I think that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And Dr. Zach Bush is going to be there. So I'm super stoked.
Oh my God. So yeah, come back on and tell me about what you learned and what it was like and what it was like talking to him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just hit me up whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will for sure.
What are your dreams? What feels true for you? What is one thing you can do today to let yourself access your inner child or feel authentic as yourself? What does freedom look like to you? These are the questions that are lingering in my mind after this episode, but what are you curious about? Hopefully, something we talked about today did resonate with you. And if it did, let yourself sit with that idea for a little while longer. If you have any questions for this podcast or any themes you'd like us to focus on in the future, send us a message on Instagram at insightswithUspodcast, or send us an email at insightswithus@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear more, please follow, like, or subscribe. If you want to support the continuation of this podcast, you can donate. To do so, find me, Anastasia Soroka, on buymeacoffee.com. You can also find Insights with Us on Substack for exclusive content, including videos and other writings about my insight journey. You can find digital downloads on my therapy website, happymindwellness.com. Thank you for being my adventure buddy. I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you are listening. Thank you for creating Insight with Us.